What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all doing well. Today is the last day of PAX. It's actually Labor Day. You won't be seeing this video until, I believe, Wednesday, as tomorrow I've got the AMD Vega interview going up, which you probably have already seen by now. And then I've got this gear vlog going up on the channel. And then that'll basically give me an extra day to kind of readjust to getting back to my regular routine at home and start working on more content. And I should have a consistent schedule going throughout the week because I've got a little bit of a jump on content with videos like this and the Vega interview. And you guys seem to really respond well to all of that stuff, so thank you very much for watching all the PAX content. But yeah, let's get into this gear vlog, and I'll show you guys what I've been using to power this trip, as well as other trips that I've gone on in the past to cover conventions like PAX West, PAX East, Too Many Games Convention, and all those. So yeah, we'll get started with it. And the first piece that I have to go over is the Acer Predator Helios 300, which they were kind enough to provide out specifically for me to edit videos from PAX West, because otherwise I may have had to wait until I got all the way back home, because even for as much tech as I have, I really don't own a high-end gaming laptop. So thank you to Acer for providing this out. It's got an i7 in there, GTX 1060, so no trouble handling games like Rainbow Six Siege, and even rendering out my videos in 1440p at a pretty high bit rate. It was doing really well. It would push out like the 12-minute interview I did with Don from AMD. That took about 40 minutes to render out, which is not awful. And thankfully, I had decent Wi-Fi here in the hotel as well, so have had no issues getting content out right here from a mobile workstation using a laptop like this, which is priced at $1,050 in the iteration that it comes in here. I did actually throw in an extra 1 terabyte SSD myself so I could have a little bit more storage for all of my video files. You know, doing all these videos, it takes up a lot of space. I shoot on 128 gigabyte Lexar Pro drives, which are 90 megabyte per second, so perfect for doing 4K footage and everything, which I usually will drop down to 1440p in rendering, especially if I'm on the road with a laptop like this. I could do 4K, but it's just going to take that much longer to kind of process it and to also upload it on the internet here, which is okay in the hotel, but it's not like amazing, but it's decent enough. But it would probably add, I would say, an extra hour to hour and a half of time combined for rendering and uploading. So 1440p works really well with a mobile solution like this one here, and honestly, you're not going to see that much of a difference on YouTube once the bit rates all come into play anyway, once you go above 1440p. As far as other gear goes here on the desktop, I am using a Logitech G303 for all of my editing and gaming needs here on the go. This was my everyday go-to mouse, but since then I've switched to the Logitech Pro, which I like. I like them about equally, honestly, with the G303. I really do like this sort of like diamond shape that it's got going on with it. The Logitech Pro has kind of lost some of those more harder edges on the side, but this one is still... honestly, it might even be one of my favorites. I might even switch it back over the Logitech Pro because I like it that much. Mouse pad, just a quick little one, PC Master Race for life. I think I picked that up on Amazon for like $6, so yeah, really happy to have that. Got a couple business cards over here, PAX Media Badge, and thanks to Don over at AMD for hooking me up with a little upgrade on my lanyard game there. Got a nice AMD Ryzen and Vega lanyard. Cheers for that. For all my audio editing, I'm using a pair of the Fisher FA011s. These are now discontinued, but they're a really great pair of headphones. They're handmade in Russia out of wood. Very comfy. I did a video on these a while back after Tyler from Mayflower Electronics gave me one. For my DAC amp, I'm actually not using a Mayflower here. This is a FIO E10K, which is just very small form factor. It's like one of the first DACs I ever got. I think I paid $70 for it, and I've seen them on special for even cheaper than that now, and it does the job of powering some headphones like these ones here. So for a tripod, I actually use a Manfrotto monopod, so not a tripod at all. It does have 3 legs at the bottom, which can help kind of balance out the camera and keep it in place if you needed to do that, which is usually how I'll run it. It's really great if you're kind of just running and gunning and filming by yourself. I really couldn't do it without one of these. I couldn't imagine actually carrying around a huge 3-legged tripod taking up all that space. But this thing absolutely does the job, and it's got a fluid base on it. It's also got a fluid head, so really easy to get those smooth pans even on the show floor. Over here, this is like a surge protector / USB charger, which I've just had for a few years now. It's an iClever. I'm not sure if they make this exact model anymore, but if they do, I will link it down in the description below. Use this, basically for charging all my USB devices and for just, for the surge protector plugs, to have some extra plugs in the room, which is never really a bad thing. And I really like carrying a big surge protector like this, not only because I have like a bunch of USB devices to charge, but I also don't trust these ones in the hotel like you see right here on the desk here. There's also a couple over by the bed. But I don't trust these because they're very prone to attacks by skimmers that could just really access the hardware in the room and install something there to kind of steal all of the data off of your mobile devices. So yeah, it's just something I've never really trusted, so I like to carry any of my own, chargers with me than just plug them into a power port, which is quite a bit safer. Oh, sorry, is that a little bright? Oh, let me turn that down there. This is a Neewer LED light. It goes right on top of the camera on my Panasonic G7. Pretty affordable, and it's really good for being on the show floor, which tends to be really dark at events like PAX. So definitely got to keep something like this if you're planning to do any sort of video work where you have fewer options as far as like shutter speed is concerned. You kind of got to stay within a certain range there, depending on the frame rate that you're shooting at. So you've really only got aperture and ISO to kind of mess with, and if you don't want to get really grainy footage and have to amp up your ISO, then you got to use something like this to just get a little bit more light into your lens. And for those of you that may be wondering what I am filming all my videos on, this is the Panasonic Lumix G7, which is probably one of the most affordable 4K camera options that you can get out there. I am running the Lumix 12-35 f2.8 lens, which is really the best all-around lens that you can get for this camera without getting into like the Sigma lenses with adapters and all of that, which can cost you over $1,000 just to get that lens and Metabones combo. This lens here is about $600. The camera's body is around $600. So for $1,200, you could be doing really high quality 4K video. And then up on top of that is the Rode VideoMic Pro, which plugs right into the camera itself and does a really good job if I need to get any mobile audio. If I'm doing anything usually on camera though, or with like interviews, I will tend to use the Electro Voice handheld mic, but for vlogging and doing something like this video here, this is really quite good. Alright, so what do we have in our camera bag? To start off, the camera bag is a Low Pro. If I can figure out the exact model, I'll link to it over on Amazon, along with the rest of the gear that I'll be showing you guys here today. So yeah, that's where I put all of my gear, and I could really fit pretty much everything I showed you guys so far. I could fit that in here and then some. In here, usually I'll cut it down once I get to the city where I'm going to be filming. I'll leave a lot of stuff back at the hotel room and bring just some of the bare essentials to the show floor that I'll think I'll need, like my microphone, which is the Electro Voice RE50NDB, I believe is the full model number. Basically, if you just search the Electro Voice RE50, you'll find it. It's a really great interview microphone, solidly well built. Has an XLR input, which I usually run with an XLR to 3.5mm adapter, like you can see right here. Just kind of run this right directly into the camera, and I get really good audio, honestly. Since it is a dynamic microphone, it'll cut out most of the background noise, not all of it, but it does a really good job where you can still hear all the voices. For holding all my storage, I have a little Pelican travel case, kind of keep my SD cards in here. I don't really travel with that many because the 128 gigabytes are usually more than enough, and I could store the stuff on the laptop anyway, and then just kind of, just kind of recycle everything around onto like a hard drive on the PC, and then clear the cards out with like SD formatter so they can kind of keep their speed. Also, always carry a charging brick with me. This is an Aukey. It's a 20,000 milliamp hour battery bank. Always got to have one of these with me to charge my phone if I need to. And very rarely do I ever get to use these, but I've also got a couple of wind filters for my microphone, just in case I have to film something outside and it's windy. I could use one of these to kind of help out with any of that. And then for a secondary tripod, I always carry a Joby GorillaPod. This is the higher end one that they make. It's really nice. It's got a ball head and everything, which is nice for balancing out the shots. I will tend to use this if I am vlogging or trying to get a lot of handheld stuff. It's a little bit more portable and easier for me to stabilize than something like the Manfrotto monopod. And if I'm going around filming like in the city or something like that, if I was going to do a vlog, then this would definitely be a better option for something along those lines. But that is all I've got for my coverage from PAX West this year. As I mentioned throughout the video, if you want links to any of the gear that I used to make this trip possible, from the Predator Helios 300 laptop to any of my camera gear, then the links for those will be down in the description below. But I'm going to have to go now and hit the air, and I will catch you guys back in New Jersey. Ta-da.